Okay, so we are here for David Hayter.
Hey. Kept you waiting, huh?
How they doing about these people in the front row?
Settle down.
Hi, kid.
Hello, welcome. Renton City Comic-Con. So I'm David Hayter. This is my brother Liquid Snake, Clarke. We have never...
Better looking brother.
That's right. With the recessive genes. And we have never appeared together, so this is an absolute first. And for those of you who missed the VIP party last night, we did a laser tag tournament where...
And I will never forgive David.
That's right. That's right. Or get over the shame. And so it was a 10-on-10 people Snake's team versus Liquid, and well, we didn't find out anything we didn't already know.
What Solid doesn't know is it's like golf in laser tag. The lowest score wins.
Yeah, nobody's knowing. So thank you for having us.
Yeah, we randomly chose, we never met any of these folks before, and there's this room full of folks, you know, says, hey, let's play laser tag. Now, the last two times I held a gun, one I was probably 10 years old at a, you know, shooting, what do you call it, the shooting gallery thing with little ducks going by, you know, with a Cupid doll. And the other time I was in a convention in Ontario, Canada last month, and a guy came up in a hoodie with steely eyes, and he visioned my website and says, I hear you collect Barbies. I know this AK-47 because Barbie needs some protection against home invasion. Thank you! And he hands me this little Barbie AK-47 for a shootout in my home. But, so yeah, anyway, so we choose these things, and it's random.
Right.
And I had a talent for picking the lowest scoring possible players across the board. Are any of my teammates here? Stand up, losers!
He says all that, but he was the highest scoring guy on our team.
Oh, stop it. Right.
So what are we doing?
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll lead a few questions, and then we'll have like audience Q&A, and then we'll end it with some humorous.
Okay, fair.
All right.
Okay.
So there's going to be humorous things all throughout, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
Some brothers on stage.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about like career beginnings, and maybe let's talk about maybe your first acting or first voice acting roles.
Yeah, well, my career beginning, I was 9 years old. I was in a kids' production of Pinocchio at the Costa Mesa Civic Playhouse. I played Thief and Weasel, so it was a bit of typecasting. That's where I first signed my first autograph for a young girl, and then I said, oh, this is for me. And so, and then my first voiceover job, I don't remember what it was, but I lived in Japan. I went to high school in Kobe, and I went to an international school that was English speaking. And this video game company came and said, we need 4 guys who can speak English to do voices for console or for stand-up arcade games. So again, I don't remember what games they were, but I've been doing video game voices since they invented video game voices. And you? You got a much more impressive video game career than voiceover career now.
Well, it's true.
Oh, it's true.
I got my start back in 1864. 1964. My family had a television series back in the 60s called The King Family. And it was this all singing, all dancing variety show. My mom was a famous singer from the big band days, and none of you probably even know what that expression means, you young, hateful young people.
Now they know everything now.
Anyway, during World War II, they were very famous, and then during the Sinatra Rat Pack era. So I performed as a child performer, scarred by being a child performer, as I'm sure you are too, dear brother.
Very much. Only on my solo.
Yes. Of your feet. And then the first voiceover job I had, well, I started doing looping, was the first thing I did, but the first animation and a video game thing I did. I actually crashed an audition. A girlfriend told me that there was this thing going on and maybe I might want to try. Well, I couldn't get an audition slot, so I just showed up and went, yeah, hey, Camp Clarke. And she's like, sir, I don't see your name here. Yeah, well, I mean, how could I know that there's an audition here? I'm not on this. She was very flustered. And she goes, well, all right, I'll squeeze you in. And I went in and booked my first job, which was Robotech. That was the beginning. Hey, I see another one of the losers just walked in.
And then, for those of you who don't know, he also played Donatello Versace in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Am I getting that right?
You can tell by the way it
I
looks.
can, very stylish. No, which turtle were you?
Leonardo.
Ah, I'm so close.
The original Leonardo.
Proper, yeah. Oh, and then who did he play on The Tick? The Tick is, have you seen The Tick, the original Tick cartoon? It's one of my favorite shows of all time. And then...
The Flavors.
That's right.
He's in love with his own reflection.
And so I have to tell you, my favorite line from The Tick was, okay, so your line. So when the Prince of Atlantis says, "Oh man," he says to your flavor mouse, "Oh man, you told me the tick. You told my mom the tick was going to be here."
Kid, I told you a lot of things.
No, I told your mother a lot of things. As a kid, I told your mother a lot of things.
Well, I just blew that one.
No, that's all right. So yeah.
Kid, I told your mother a lot of things. Now that's funny.
Because he had sex with his mother.
Who said that? Can't pull one over on you.
So we're talking about the first acting roles, and of course, a lot of people here know you from many things, but of course, Metal Gear as well. How did the role for Metal Gear come about?
Yeah, how did you? I know how I got it.
Well, maybe they don't.
So, all right, I had done. Let's see, I had done a guest star on a couple episodes on Captain Planet, and the cast director was a woman. Thank you. I was a character you'll never remember. I was the Russian brother of the Russian Planet. Russian brother.
So we may have met before we met because we recorded that in ensemble, and I was Sludge, Smudge, Fresh.
Oh yeah.
Who knows Captain? That's the ecology show.
Yeah, that's right.
Some guy was like, what is it?
Birthday, the series.
Yeah,
That's right.
There was somebody who was like in love with trash or something.
Right. Yeah.
Somebody look this up, help me out here.
So
We'll come back to this.
So I had done that, and then the cast director on that was a woman named Chris Zimmerman, and then she ended up directing all of the English language versions of Metal Gear. And so she called me into audition, although Jennifer Hale claims that she brought up my name for the thing. So she takes credit for the fact that I got the job. In any
But
case.
I recommended Jennifer Hales, so hence.
So really, it's you. But then actually I realized that Hideo Kojima, the first time I ever met him, he brought me a Guyver thing to sign, so I think he hired me because I was in Guyver. So it was a confluence of events. I went down to a weird little house in Hollywood and I auditioned and they just, and then Jennifer called me like a week later and said, you know, guess who's gonna make some money? And I was like, is it me? Because I really hope it's me, because I'm kind of hungry. And then, and that's how I got the job.
Damn, you like ooze.
Ooze!
Ooh.
Yeah, that's like smudge, ook, yuck. Maybe something like that. So we quite possibly were sitting in the same room at
That's possible. My first day on Captain Planet was Margot Kidder's first day. And she played the voice of Gaia, the computer. And she had just taken over for Whoopi Goldberg. And she had just taken over for Whoopi Goldberg, who had been doing the voice, and then she left. And then Margot Kidder came in, and she was a rat, and she was reading it, and she was like, oh, this is a hoot!
Has she already gone through her public naked?
No, not yet. She was building up to that. It was just in the booth nakedness. Anyway, it was very exciting.
It's funny you should mention Guyver because I thought
There it is. This is my first movie I was ever in.
Awesome.
Is that on camera?
Yeah, I saw that movie when I was.
I don't just have a face for voiceover. What's that?
What are you talking about over there? I saw that movie when I was this big. It took me 10 minutes to look at your poster at the table and like, wait a minute. Holy shit.
That was me. I've sort of melted since then.
Do you have any favorite career moments?
When X-Men came out, they backed a truck full of money up to my house in residuals, and then they just dumped it on me, and I danced around it. You remember that scene from Shawshank Redemption? Where that was a good day.
I would say, for me, one of my favorite things growing up was anything Charlie Brown, anything Peanuts, the Great Pumpkin, and Charlie Brown Christmas, and I had every book and every toy and all of that. And when the audition came around to animate the musical Snoopy, which was a follow-up to the show Good Man Charlie Brown, and one of the few times that Snoopy ever spoke in English, and landing that job and getting to work with Lee Mendelson, the producer of all those cartoons. I think I was in my late 20s, and it was like a highlight for me. Any you guys fans of like the Peanuts cartoons? An interesting thing I always remember as a voice actor, I always found it interesting that the children talk like this. Gee, Charlie Brown, would you be our model if we cut the eyes like this and the nose like this? And you been
They were all on the side.
Lee Mendelson, the producer, would stand right here next to the real kids. This is also the first time they used real children in animation. And he's not an actor. And he would literally give them line readings.
Right.
So this signature sound of this little kind of thing like this was because he fed them, and it became this sound that I was memorized with. It was because he fed it to it, and unknowingly it became this little signature sound.
What about Snoopy? But Snoopy had a different cadence.
Well, Snoopy, well, yes, he did.
He's a little sharper.
He didn't dare whisper in my ear. But I kind of use my Matthew. Snoopy kind of had this, my Matthew Broderick voice, which employed in a lot of characters, including Lion King and War Games. And, I would say, like, another little highlight is because we're voice, for myself, I'm not only a voice actor, but a couple of times when I am recognized by my name, two things happened over the Christmas holidays last year. One, I was at this Scottish restaurant, Tam O'Shanter, back home? Yeah. And they had caroling people. And, dressed up in the Dickens costume, they come to the tables and they're singing, and I applaud, and that was very nice. And the tenor says, in his top hat and, "Thank you, Mr. Clarke." The other was making a reservation for a restaurant. And yes, you already know this one. And I called her, yeah, like table party 4, name please. Clarke, first name, Cam, silence. B, Cam Clarke. And I'm like, okay. And he said, yeah, he says, "Dude, I tried to kill you all day yesterday and you would not die." from my Metal Gear. And he happened to be on...
Hopefully from Metal Gear.
But he was hanging out at the market where I shot.
You wouldn't walk past the window.
So I get to the restaurant and he happens to be working that night. I said, "Kid, you're barely out of his diapers. How do you even know Metal Gear Solid?" And he said, "Mr. Clarke, Metal Gear is the Citizen Kane of video games." And I just got back from a trip, as I've been sharing with David, to Ireland and Wales. And you're talking to people, and "Oh, you're from California, what do you do, blah, blah, blah." And I mentioned that title. And these Irish folks are like doing a jig, you know, and "Do you remember Metal Gear Solid?"
That's crazy, that's guys.
That's fucking crazy. Fucking.
I've been trying to kill you for years.
I even followed you to Hollywood, California. You wouldn't die.
You just wouldn't know.
You wouldn't die. Back to you.
We're unruly guests.
Absolutely love Metal Gear. You know, my son, the kids his age are all playing Fortnite. Fortnite, you're playing Fortnite? Yeah. But I said, look, you have to play Metal Gear. I love this game. You need to be, you know, you need to experience this amazing game. And the cinematic quality of it, the acting, it's gonna leave you with something that you can play. And sure enough, you did. And he's like, yeah, that's great. So,
You know, there's medicine that leaves them with something like that.
okay. More fiber.
Yeah.
Thank you. Maybe a little more liquid.
Yeah!
No more liquid.
Any favorite character quotes from any of the characters?
Oh, I have to say them so often, they're no longer my favorites. That's not
Fair
true.
enough.
I mean, I kept you waiting, huh? And I'm no hero, and you're pretty good, and yeah, a lot of people, this really annoys me, a lot of people ask me to scream, "Liquid!" Which is a little tough. Anyone for GQ?
Any current or future projects that you're working
Well, I got a favorite line. Really?
They were your line. Okay.
Screaming.
Yeah, but those weren't his lines. It was just nonsense.
Leonardo, all the others, when we first booked the Turtle Show, and these other guys have got these clowny characters, and I tried to do kind of sort of what I ended up doing for the Tick, which is like a spoof on the superhero, and I tried to play Leonardo that way, and then, you know, realized that, you know, the director pulls me up to the hallway, she says, "Don't fight me." Yeah. So I had to use this like the straight dude part of the expression. And so my line was always, "We got to think of something fast, and thank you."
This is like the most useless advice ever. Somebody's got to do something.
Sounds like our political system. Wait, what?
Any current or future projects that you're able to talk about that you want to promote? Or I know there's a lot of NDAs going on, you know,
That's true.
these days, but anything that you might be able to talk about?
Yes, I'll be performing at the Sunnydale Old Folks Home, Reseda, California.
It's an adaptation of Alien. have a video game called Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night comes out. Finally, under Zengetsu, and what else? I just oversaw the writing of a show called Albedo with Evangeline Lilly that just got picked up for 8 episodes, so I'll be overseeing the development of those things. I mean, I'm primarily a screenwriter, so that's mostly what I do, and most of those things are secret, but Albedo's just been announced. And I just wrote the first season of a show called Warrior Nun at Netflix as well, which is shooting now, should come out at the end of the year, so check that out as well.
You can find me in the unemployment line in California.
You'll be on my shows.
Hopefully it's more than an elbow.
You are going to play the possessed elbow.
Been there, done that.
Because I know you're good at it.
So obviously maybe we can open up to some audience Q&A in a little while.
Let's do it. You there in the glasses.
Sure. So, having been active for Solid Snake for both Smash Bros. And for Metal Gear, what was the difference? Did you notice the difference working between Konami and Nintendo?
No, not really. So what was the difference between working with Konami and Nintendo in terms of Smash Brothers versus Snake? No. Well, that was a weird thing. Like Nintendo said, would you lend your voice to this? And I said, no, but I'll sell it to you for a significant and then so we were recording Metal Gear 4 in Hollywood, and they came down one day. Metal Gear 4 took 9 months to record, and one afternoon, Nintendo came down, took over the booth, and then me and Paul Eining and Chris Randall, the Colonel and Otacon and Mei Ling, we all sat down and we did the codex. And it wasn't, really, they just gave us the lines and off we went. And the only difference was that they were intentionally funny as opposed to just ironically funny. But it was kind of cool because, Snake is so serious and he's always just in the grip of immense drama. And so it was nice to be able to say things like, he gets around by farting. You don't really have to change the character to make it funny. So, but it was a blast to do that. But it was very, very brief. And then they just sort of reused the same recordings for the recent Smash Brothers Ultimate. So that was my brief time working for Nintendo, and it was just a sheer joy. From minute to minute. Snake.
Hi. I was just wondering, Jordan Voight Roberts is going to be working on the Metal Gear Solid movie, and I saw that you were hanging out with him last week. How do you feel about the Metal Gear Solid movie finally moving forward, and are you excited about Jordan working on the project?
Yes, first of all, is Jordan Vogt Roberts. He made that very, very clear to me when I recorded Simplicity for him. I don't know why that is, because it's spelled boy, but I'm not going to get into that. It's his name, it's not my name.
I think you just got into it.
I just lost my part in the movie. So we got together to discuss the movie, and he's a longtime fan, so which is good because he really knows the material and he really wants to do it properly. And it was just great to get to talk to him and sort of hear the behind the scenes stories. In fact, you got to hear. Oh, I can't tell you. And then we sort of were joking about me playing Snake in the movie, and he's like, but you have to, and he kind of looks me up and down and goes, you kind of have to get ripped first. And I was like, no, you have to offer me the job first. You have to convince me that Tom Rothman, the president of Sony, is willing to put me in the head of a $200 million movie, then I'll get ripped. Prior to that, I'm eating my screenwriter diet of beer and donuts. So, thank you. I'm more dough than man. But we did talk about the movie, and it sounded very, very cool. And from as I am also a fan, I was very, very excited about the ideas that were being batted about, and I was very flattered to talk to Jordan about it. So, that's about all I can tell you. But it was really cool. We met in this weird Hollywood speakeasy called Sunset and Vinyl, which is above a pizza place, like a secret place, and you go out and it's all hipsters, and the music's all on vinyl, and everybody's got the same hat, beard, hipsters. So yeah, that was my Jordan Vogt Roberts story. He was on my team. This was the highest scoring guy on my team. I said kill the ball, and he did.
So I'm going to talk like this so everybody can hear me. Perfect. So I know Cam doesn't play games. David, had you played the original Metal Gear on the NES before taking your role?
I did not. Not because I didn't want to, I just didn't have an NES system. So, no, I would love to play. That's right. Okay, you caught me. I totally have one and I didn't want to play it. No,
Or the MSX version, because you were in Japan. Gotta cover my ass.
Right. Yes, always cover your ass. That's Hollywood rule number one. No, I never did. I would love to have played the games, but I really didn't know anything about it until I got the PlayStation version. Until I got booked on it, and then I never went back. So, but I would love to, because I was always curious about Gray Fox's story in Zanzibar Land and all that. So I would love to play it someday, but waiting for them to re-release something that I've got. I don't know. But I'm concerned by your tone. Is it Hide the Pickle?
Cover your ass.
Always cover your ass.
I'm just saying what you all were thinking.
No, it's not.
We can talk.
Somebody is
Are you seeing other voice actors?
I don't know how to play these games. And someone asked me to play some new version of Metal Gear. Is that
thing with that guy?
But the thing with the guy.
I have no idea.
But we're being paid to play something.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Teaching us.
You
So
got
it's
top
good.
score on the laser tag team last night.
That-
Well, yes, I did.
Don't get me started. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. That my office is sort of dealing with.
Your what?
My office. I have an office of people.
This is constant.
I call them sneaklets. That is a thing where they're playing. I think it's a board game or something, and it's going to be like put out on the internet. And we're going to be like commenting, or I don't know. That'll be fun. We'll get through it. See, this is the thing. All right. Yes. Way back.
Yeah, hi. So Kojima made it no secret that with the Metal Gear games, he didn't want to continue making them, but he was continuing making some. And so my question was to you, like, every Metal Gear game that you made, like, was it one of those moments where you're just like, all right, this is it, we're done, but then you get a phone call the next day saying like, oh, never mind, we're making another one, let's get back into it. Was it always a surprise, or was it more of like a, oh, here we go again kind of deal?
No, I knew that Kojima. It's in Hollywood. It's called the golden handcuffs. You don't want to keep doing it like Christina Applegate said that about Married with Children. It's like, I don't want to keep playing this slut, but I can't get out of the contract. It's too much money, and it's the golden handcuffs. And it was the same thing with Kojima. He was like, I don't want to keep playing this slut. I'm just speculating, but yeah. So I knew that he was trying to get out of it, but I also knew that the games were enormous. And typically, having been in Hollywood as long as I have, typically when something is that successful, it's just going to keep going and going and going. So I knew that it was a push and pull. He sort of wanted to do other things, but at the same time, Konami was really pushing him to do more titles. Then he'd oversee like something like Metal Gear Acid, and that would sell a bunch. And so I was never
Metal
really
Gear ass.
Acid. Acid.
Why was it dying by
It was the part you were born to play. That's America's ass. So yeah, I was never surprised when it came back. because I could feel the wave of popularity sort of going on and on. But of course, you never know. You never know if each one's going to be your last. I mean, that was sort of the understanding that at the end of each game that was going to be it. But then they'd call me in a few months, and I'd be like, "Hey, I'll come back."
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, the disembodied hand back there. Yes, there it is.
So, Metal Gear is a series full of snake grunting. How did you come up with so many unique grunts? Did you ever get tired of you ever feel like you recorded enough?
Yeah, listen. I did, well, not the grunting. The grunting I always had fun with because you put a lot of personality into them, and that's just my personality. You know, if you've been in the booth for hours and hours, you're just like, oh, God. But I did ask, because at the end of each game I had to record days of gunshots, getting electrocuted, throwing up, falling off of buildings, getting my arm broken, getting my eye shot out, and so on and so forth. And I was like, can't we just use the thousands of times I've done it before? And they're like, no, each time it's a different sound card, it's a different sound system, you have to record it each time. So those I got tired of, but acting Snake being annoyed or frustrated is always fun.
So, you guys talk about your favorite characters that you played. What have been your least favorite characters to play? Woo!
That's a good one.
Real questions.
Take your time. Sorry, we plan to live forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to come back to this because as long as they paid, they were my favorite.
That's true. Any day acting is better than any day doing anything else.
Do you have something to say?
I do, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. I was in a terrible thing. I'm not going to give you any details. And I knew it was terrible while I was doing it. I was like, I'm not putting my name on this, and it's never been found. So that one, and they were really nice people that were making it, but it just was not great. And so, but I still had fun doing it. I was still a blast to do. Even the worst thing you're on is really fun. And then I don't have anything that.
I mean, I have favorite things, but I don't really. I don't have something that I did not.
Yeah, I mean, once you do it, it's a blast, right?
I would say that early games, like before Metal Gear, where they were, and I don't know what the terminology is, but before they had plots and subplots and stories, and they were basically shooter games where they were very difficult because you had to just say the same line about 25 different times, and say, that's 7 kills for you, 3 for me. That's 8 kills for you, 2 for me. That's 4 kills for you, 7, and you just go down this list. So the monotony of it was kind of crazy making. I will say one of the best paying things I ever did in commercial voiceovers. I don't remember what state it was, but I did a lottery thing. And I got paid for each possibility of money you could win. Current jackpot, $1,392. Current jackpot, $1,394. Current jackpot, $1,497. It was like, keep going. But that was like, it no longer sounds like English. So I would say there can be tedium that might come with the job, but nothing that I disliked doing.
And you can't really play something if you dislike what you're doing. You have to find a way to love it.
Well, that's the nuance, though. I didn't say dislike. I said least favorite. So you could have like this range of favorites, but just like the last one on the list of favorites.
Yeah, but I would, maybe the most meaningless I can think of, I was like a mech pilot in Mech Warrior 2. But I had a blast doing that. I'm just like yelling out pilot things. And I used to do the promos on the Playboy channel. So, yeah, coming up on College Girl TV.
I would say coming back.
Adriana's lost her books.
Coming back as an elbow in the Metal Gear Solid series was pretty painful.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, okay, so Metal Gear 5 would be my least favorite. Thank you, that's for the bitterness. Yes.
So you guys come to a lot of gatherings and conventions like this. What is it like?
And this has been our favorite.
I should have said this panel. But it's not true.
And especially at camp when you don't play games here. What is it like being in the culture of like, the gaming culture and Metal Gear fans and the kind of the rabbit sharpness of it?
I feel like I will be found out. The first, early on when I started doing these, I'm like going, these people will hate me if they think I'm not one of them.
Right.
And I'm trying to, people come up and they go, yeah, you played the part of Sally and Tales of the Wonderful End of the Unicorns, Cliff Riders in the Sky. What was your favorite line from that? And I'm like, we've got to think of something fast.
I would say, what was your favorite one?
That's what I've just come to do. It's like, I'm trying to fake it and just go, what was your favorite line? All right, that's my favorite line. No, it was weird. I tried for a number of shows to pretend, and then it's like, okay, I'm just happy to be part of the creation part, and that it's brought you guys so much, fun. But I can really walk and chew gum at the same time, let alone ping pong. I know how to play pong.
That's not true. I've seen him play pong. No, you have to understand, so for Cam, he was in the first game, and then it was a bit of a travesty. He got replaced, even though Liquid runs through the whole thing. It becomes Ocelot's voice, and there had to be a choice made, and that's unfortunate because Cam is amazing.
It's true.
And the game, so, his involvement was primarily Metal Gear Solid, and it's so complex and so weird, and then the story since then has been so complex and weird. It's just not possible for him to keep up with it. It's not possible for me either, but I do my best because I spend a lot of time talking about Metal Gear. So, I think the first one we were at, people would say, what was it like finding out that you were, Snake's brother and that you got the recessive genes? And you'd be like, what are you talking about? And I'd lean over and I'd say we were cloned together. It's a secret experiment. It's and then we're just finding out that we know each other.
Yeah, it's like I'm the president of the United States and he's my head CIA.
I'm Gary the Bagman.
However, there was an underground.
Keep out cards.
Yeah. There was a story that went, okay, since I'm out in the open with y'all, who, I pose as who?
Oh, Master Miller.
Master Miller. Okay, but some in the...
I had to explain the Master Miller.
I'm just here to preview. But there's a character that Pat did.
Yeah, Patrick Zimmerman played Revolver Ocelot.
Okay, and a couple of fans wrote me saying, since you are your character, I didn't have
You've taken over the brain of Ocelot.
Why aren't you doing the voice? And I just wrote that. This was 1,000 years ago, and I just said, I don't know why. I just show up and they point me in one direction, and well, you should be doing it. I said, well, don't, nothing. Take it up with the producers.
Yeah.
Well, he did. I don't know if you even knew this was a thing, but there was like this ground roots thing of, Clarke should voice it, and I'm getting these emails that say, all right, Cam, what do you want us to do? I don't want you to do anything right now. I just said talk You know, send it upstairs. And it became this thing, and Pat and I don't know who, Chris Zimmerman and someone else had to like do an online thing and describe that the process, and that they said, well, in Japan, the original, his character, oh, it's like, well, because the guy they wanted died, and so he, you know. Anyways, it's a huge story to the point where Pat calls me, how do you hear? And he's like, why are you trying to take this role away from me? And I'm like, oh, nothing to do with anything. We gotta take something fast.
It kind of, it's a bummer because I would have loved for Cam to be in all the games. I kind of get it because you're the arm and it's still his vocal cords. But what it should have been, this just occurred to me, it should have been both of you echoing the lines, and then so that you hear.
Oh, fine. Everyone gets a medal. Is that what you're saying?
No, everyone gets to participate. That is dependent on your performance, but which would have been excellent. So that's what I would like to see. So somebody mod that up. We can redo all those games. Great hat.
There was a well-publicized strike by video game voice actors starting in 2016. Are you guys for or against that, and has that impacted you guys' careers at all?
Next question.
Something fast.
They brought me in to the negotiations. I was there at SAG, and I do a lot of negotiating with the studios because in my job as a screenwriter, and I said, look, you have to have a strike authorization or you won't have the power to leverage anything out of these people because we know them. And then they went on strike, and the strike went on. It was one of the longest strikes in entertainment history. It was nearly a year, and it was really devastating, and it was really painful for all of my union people. So I try to stay out of it now because at the same time I'm writing things and I'm doing fine. So it was really painful, but at the same time we got a lot of concessions. We got more money, we got more vocal protections. Now they can't come to you and say, oh, we've got this game, but we can't tell you what it is. They have to tell you that it's Call of Duty or something, something huge that they didn't want to do. So yeah, I'm very proud of them, but it was a very painful strike, and I was out on the ticket march.
Unfortunately, the union, in a lot of when the whole cyber anything back in the 80s, it started, it was like, oh, this is just some lipsqueak, nothing's going to come of it. And they addressed a lot of the issues from the, oh, this will never, this will never.
They said digital would never make any money, and it's like, oh, now it's making money. So
when you're doing cartoons, you get residuals. Games, which is the biggest money in all the land, we don't see a nickel. Unless you're a star and you have part of the action, we don't see a nickel in revenue from units sold at all. And there was, that was just a runaway train, that there was no way that was going to become a thing. So that's always been, a disappointment that we, who are a large part of why a game is successful, just one of the parts, but that there's no sharing. And I don't know that the other pieces of the creative get to have a royalty. I don't know.
Well, what we did, what they won was, if you do a game and you get voiceover scale, it's like $986 for 4 hours work, which is very good. It's nothing to sneeze at. And what they agreed to was if the game makes over $100 million, as reported in the trades, you get an additional $2,000. So that was
dinner at Applebee's.
And a swift kick in the ass. So that's what we got, which was kind of a huge thing, because they didn't want to give any sort of residuals. They didn't want to set that precedent at all. And we got that, so it's a start, and that was sort of the story of the voiceover strike. But I hate the strikes, and I wish people would just be decent off the top.
Yeah, way to bring the room down.
Yeah, man, that really bumped me out. I gotta go. Hat there.
So in Phenomenal Writer, learn anything from his creative process? Do you see any reflection of that in your current work?
What was it like working with him? I don't know. What's it like? Yeah, I have no idea. I never worked with Hideo Kojima. He oversees the Japanese language versions of the games. Chris Zimmerman did all the directing on the English language versions, and occasionally Kojima would fly out from Tokyo to show us some gameplay or whatever. So I've met him 3 times. Once on Metal Gear 1, once on Metal Gear 4, and then once I ran into him at a award show. And
so was that time in my shower?
That's right. That was an epic game of pickle. We never found the pickle. Sorry.
The front row.
I apologize. This probably isn't the era to be speaking like this. Yeah, so, I mean, you know, look, he was always seemed like a nice man. He's very quiet. He always had 2 translator, probably bodyguards with him, and these little red shoes. And that's, you know, but that's my impression of him. So I know him slightly better than you guys, but not by much. So I'm sorry, he's an enigma to me. Yes, young lady.
Any dream projects, past or future?
Yeah, but I can't say what they are, because if I say, like, there's a number of projects I'd love to do as a screenwriter or a producer, but as soon as I say them, people will try to scoop them up, and I just don't need that kind of hassle. So there's a lot. I mean, I always wanted, as an actor, I always wanted to voice Batman, but then we got Kevin Conroy, so what's the point? You know, I auditioned to play the Joker, and Joker here, but you can't do it without doing Mark Hamill. So it was like, again, what's the point? So yeah, there's a lot of, yeah, but yeah, I'm sorry, it just causes a great big problem if I say on the internet, you know, oh, I want to do such and such, and it's nothing but hassle from then on. So that's very unsatisfying.
It was very difficult for him when he said, I wish I had had the career that Clarke had.
In a lot of ways, that's true. I really, well, no, you're joking, but I admire your career hugely, and I feel like, why didn't I get that run of being hired for all these things? I did Snake, and then I became extremely well known as a voice actor, and then I wrote X-Men, so I was doing all of that, and I was like, well, why aren't people hiring me for voiceover jobs? And then there was an opening on Star Wars: The Old Republic for this Jedi, the lead Jedi voice, and Jennifer Hale says, what about David Hayter? And they're like, do you think he'd do it? I'm like, yeah, what do you think I do? I'm a voiceover, I didn't quit. So, yeah, so no, I am envious of your career in many, many ways. I wish I had all the jobs, and that's the point.
When I first met Troy Baker, when he was just arriving, you know, falling off the turnip truck, we were the same agency, and he walks into the lobby, and I'm sitting there waiting to record an audition. I introduce myself, and he says, Ken Clarke. Oh, Mr. Clarke, my dream is to have the career that you had.
Wow.
Anybody seen All About Eve?
And my dream is that you weren't wearing all those scarves.
Well, I mean, hopefully you can change that D to an S at the end of that word to make it present, but anyway. I'm so sorry. No, I didn't mean that. What I meant was I was cold.
So I think this will be our last question, running out of time. So.
All right, Snake.
All right, I actually have a Ninja Turtle question. What was it like, you know, seeing these characters that seem completely ridiculous at first go from, you know, being just animations and lines, and then seeing it become this global phenomenon? Like, did you and the other actors think that it was going to be the show that it was and the popular thing that it was, or yeah, what was the experience watching Ninja Turtles get popular?
Well, I will digress a little bit with when I remember my family's television show. My mother, for those of you who are on my what class team, she said, as far as success goes, and she's been very successful, but when our show first went on television, and she said, don't believe it until you're sitting at home in your living room watching your show and you see the closing credits. When we audition for things, I could never place a bet on what's going to be a hit and what's not. We do some funny scripts that it doesn't get picked up, or you do a lame show that runs forever. Had no idea that Turtles, which on the surface was kind of straightforward. I mean, those characters in and of themselves, you know, the brainiac, the party boy, the hero, whatever. It's not like those were invented the day of Turtles, but it becomes lightning in a bottle when the right things come together. But I would never place bets. But it was amazing, and I would just share that we had a lot of fun on the last series when they had us come back and do battle with the current Turtles, and they drew us in our fashion, and theirs was a CGI or something, but ours was on old 2D animation. And then I think it was Honda that did a series of holiday commercials. And they had the four of us come back, and they took our little action figures and animated them around the car. And to be back in the booth with these, the Four Musketeers, it was so wonderful to be sitting, to be sitting in a booth with these three guys who I spent my entire young adulthood, and now because of people like you, we get to do these conventions and see each other again. That's the long-winded answer, and I hope your answer is even somewhere buried in what I've been.
You could talk about turtles and I would be fine. I'm listening to a Ninja Turtle talk about Ninja Turtles, like, just please keep talking.
Thank you, and thank you for moderating.
So we're going to end it with
a song.
Yes. So there's some. What I'd like to do.
What a thrill.
So, as the Snake or Solid Snake or Leonardo, we have some really important questions to ask. Okay? So, a sandwich, by definition, is an item of food between two pieces of bread. Is a hot dog sandwich.
First of all, is this a meme?
You want to know?
I think it is. Technically, it's a sandwich, but visually, it's very offensive.
So one person's offensive, am I right, fellas? What did you just ask? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Hot dog is a sandwich.
Were you like this as a kid?
Is a taco a burrito?
But why, Mom? Why?
Because I said so!
It's a sandwich. It has bread with a thing in it. Bread with mayonnaise only is a sandwich.
It's not a good sandwich.
Pineapple on pizza. Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Canada. We invented it. I'm down with the pineapple on
You invented Hawaiian pizza?
Canada. I didn't, but Canada came from Canada.
They're a bunch of liars. Why did they name it? No, yeah.
It was Canadian bacon and pineapple, and then people started calling it Hawaiian because it had pineapple. But yeah, we invented it.
Of course they did.
What's that?
It's from Portugal.
What's from Portugal? Canadian bacon?
No, pineapple. It's not native to Hawaii. It's brought over.
Oh yeah, I know, but people.
You did not know that. Yeah, I knew that. You see, pineapple.
I was just agreeing. I wasn't just saying I had knowledge of Puerto pineapple.
Sibling rivalry. You see how he is. Brown nosing.
That's right.
So,
Metal Gear brown nosing.
Don't reveal the future titles.
That's what it is.
that was pretty much it. Just want to end on a light note, and I just want to thank both of you for being here. This is so great to have you.
Well, thank you for having us in Renton City. This is awesome. We'll be signing tables and hanging out in front of